Hello po, good afternoon, ma'am. Halim, start na po tayo, ma'am, no?
Yes, sir. Start na po.
Okay. So, good afternoon, ma'am Aline. Good afternoon, everyone. So, for today, no, since nagkaroon tayo ng cancellation of face-to-face classes, what we are going to do today would be the discussion or prelab discussion about the remaining steps in your tissue processing, and that would be yung staining natin, no? Mostly dapat ito yung di-discuss natin, gagawin natin. But then again, so happened that no, the local government of Dasmariñas announced no last night na up until today, suspended pa rin yung face-to-face classes kasi baka daw mapasok tayo sa sobrang init ng araw. Okay? So again, at any point in time, if you have any question or clarification about the topic that is being discussed, please do not hesitate to call my attention. Po. So my topic is about the staining principle and general procedure of staining of the tissue. So why do we need to stain tissues? So ideally, no, yung tissue natin, just like with any other cells, no, or other tissues in the human body, no, they are considered to be transparent and colorless. So even the internal structures, such as yung mga organelles, the nucleus, mitochondria, and other organelles found inside the cells are or colorless, no, colorless. Now, for your pathologists, be able to examine, study, and analyze yung tissue natin and able to somehow know, understand the different pathologic process happening in the tissue, especially of those patients, no, na sinabmit ng surgeon, no, kailangan ma-demonstrate yung mga important structures such as the nucleus, the different organelles, and other important compounds such as the extracellular matrix of the cell, which are very helpful in establishing the diagnosis of the patient. No? Helpful in establishing the diagnosis of the patient because all of those things that I have mentioned are the one that are being studied or being read by the pathologist para ma-compare niya na yung tissue na binabasa niya is abnormal from that of the normal, no? From that of the normal, and that is very important. Now, for us to be able to help your pathologist to demonstrate all those structures, microscopic structures in your tissues, no, kailangan natin mag-apply ng stain. No, kailangan natin mag-apply ng stain. Stain will help no yung mga transparent structures within your cells, in your tissues, to make it visible. No, to make it visible. Kasi when we are going to stain your tissue, we are imparting color no to your cells, not just only in the cells, but even on those specific no microscopic structures such as the different organelles and the different extracellular matrix and other compounds, no, whether that is a specific compound molecule, no, could be a collagen, a carbohydrate, or a lipid, or an enzymes present in your tissues that would be very important so that the pathologist will able to understand and understand and study the different pathologic processes and compare no yung abnormal from that of the normal cells, no, from that of the normal cells. Just like for example no in your hematology, diba, in your hematology you perform the Romanowski stain of your blood smear, no, for you to be able to see no and study the morphology of the RBC, for you to be able to count no in the smear yung mga platelets natin and identify the different types of WBC. Without doing that, no, all of them are just look like the same. And it will be very hard for you to somehow know, differentiate alin dito ang neutrophil, alin dito ang lymphocyte, no, if they are colorless, no, if they are colorless. Another, no, for example, in your bacteriology, no, in your bacteriology, you perform gram staining of your bacterial smear, no, of your bacterial colony, so that you will be able to understand or for you to be able to study the morphology of the bacteria, no, para masabi mo siyang masabi mo cocci or bacilla yung organism na na-isolate mo, no, kailangan may kulay siya. Kasi it will somehow no help you para at least magkaroon ka ng idea what would be the probable pathogens no present in the patient. And at the same time, no, color staining your bacterial smear will able to somehow help you no, categorize what would be the group of bacteria based on their gram reaction, no? Kung gram negative ba siya or gram positive, no? That is the same principle. Why do we need to stain also your tissue? It is to pat. No, staining your tissue will help no pathologists to understand and also study the different morphological changes happening in the cells that make up of your tissues so that it can be compared no from normal to abnormal para masabi natin, oops, abnormal itong tissue na binabasa ko, and that would somehow help for the diagnosis of the disease. Sige po tayo. Now, remember that dye would be the elementary component of your stain. Again, the dye is the elementary component of the stain and the one that are responsible of imparting color to your tissues, not to your cells. And that would be yung dye natin. Now, when we are talking about the dyes that is being used for staining, there are two types of dye na ginagamit natin. We have your natural dye and your synthetic dye. What is the difference between your natural dye and synthetic dye? Yung natural dye natin, these are extracted coming from a tree, such as for example, yung ating hematoxylin. It could be extracted coming from a vegetable, a plant, or a fruit. It can also be extracted coming from a beetle, like for example, yung ating coccineal dye, yung feeble beetle natin, that are the different sources of natural dye natin. Up to date, dalawa na lang yung pinaka-common natural dye na ginagamit natin. We have the carmine and the hematoxylin. These are the two natural dye that up until right now ginagamit natin. But most of the dye na ginagamit natin ngayon, especially in histopath, would be considered to be synthetic dye. The synthetic dye is different from that of the natural because these are produced by adding or by modifying the different chemical compound of a particular species, and that would be used para at least i-stain o magkaroon tayo ng kulay, i-impart ng kulay sa tissue natin. So most synthetic dye, they are all petroleum derivative. Now, most of the synthetic dye are petroleum derivative, and the main molecular compound of your synthetic dye would be yung benzene, Ito yung main molecular compound ng ating mga synthetic dye. Usually, ang ating benzene are colorless, but this can be easily modified, This can be easily modified, Kasi C6H6 would be the chemical formula for the benzene. And this chemical or this molecular form of the benzene can be easily modified by adding or modifying the different ring or side ring of the benzene so that it can somehow to be produce color. Modifying the part of the benzene, if you modify any part of the benzene and adding another element would to this benzene molecule would somehow create or make your benzene colored. From colorless, magkakaroon siya ng color. And that part na na-modify doon sa benzene natin, ang tawag doon is chromogen. The modified part of the benzene that would be possible of giving color to that of particular dye is what we call chromogen, chromogen. And this group, yung group na to is what we call chromophore, and these are the one responsible of imparting color to your tissue. Yung modified part ng benzene mo that would impart or that are responsible of giving color to your benzene, ang tawag natin doon would be chromophore. Chromophore naman would be the one responsible of imparting color to your tissues. With that, using the synthetic dye, pwede nating mabigyan ng kulay yung mga tissues sample natin. Now, again, there are two important components of your synthetic dye. We have your chromophore. Chromophore is the one that is imparting color to your tissues, and then we have the oxochrome. Oxochrome is the one that are responsible of intensifying the color of your tissue by absorbing more light. By absorbing more light. Again, oxochrome is the part of your synthetic dye that are responsible of intensifying the color of your tissues by absorbing more light. Okay? Now, there are different type of dyes na ginagamit natin, na ginagamit natin in laboratory, especially in histopath, Number one would be having the anionic dye, Anionic dye, or also known as acid dye. This dye specifically, have affinity with that of the basic, May affinity daw to sa mga basic component of the cell. Usually, these basic components such as proteins, the different granules and other organelles commonly found in the cytoplasm of the cell are considered to be basic component or basic in pH. That's why yun daw yung specifically na nai-stain ng mga anionic or acid dye. Any structures in the cell that would take up the color of the anionic or acid dye, ang tawag daw natin sa kanila is acidophilic, Acidophilic. Any structures that will take the color of your anionic dye or acid dye, ang tawag daw natin sa kanila is acidophilic structures. Okay? A good example na ginagamit nating acid dye in histopath, we have the AUC, AUC is one of the most common counter stain na ginagamit natin, especially in regressive staining, which is the most common staining technique na ginagawa ng histopath. Then next, we have the cationic dye or your basic dye. So your cationic dye or basic dye is the one responsible naman or has affinity naman with the acid component of the cells. Usually, this acid component commonly found no doon sa nucleus ng cell natin because remember your nucleus contain deoxyribonucleic acid, an acid, no? That's why this will be the one that will being colored by your cationic dye. Any structures in the cell that will take up the color of your cationic or basic dye, ang tawag daw natin sa kanila is basophilic structure. Again, any structures in the cell that are or will be taking the color of the cationic dye, ang tawag natin sa kanya is basophilic structures. So a good example of your basic dye, we have your methyl green, and Alcian blue. No? So these are examples of your cationic dye. The next, of course, we have the neutral dye. Itong neutral dye naman na to, regardless of whether the pH of your structures are acid or pH can be stain of this particular dye. So a good example of your neutral dye, we have the Romanowsky-James stain, the most common stain na ginagamit natin to demonstrate blood parasite in patient sample. Sometimes, meron tayong ginagamit na ligand or chelating dye. Ano tong ligand or chelating dye? It is a type of dye wherein meron kang molecule of dye here, dinagdagan mo siya o kinumbine mo siya with an metal ion. The most common metal ion na ginagamit natin would be iron and can also be aluminum, aluminum. So these are the different metal ion na kinukombine natin doon sa dye natin to make it a ligand or chelating dye. So what is the reason kung bakit natin kailangan magdagdag nito? Using ligand or chelating dye, making your dye soluble with water but insoluble with alcoholic solutions. Ang reasons kung bakit natin gumagawa o bakit ginagamit natin yung ligand or chelating dye is that to make your dye soluble in water but insoluble with alcoholic solutions. Ito yung reason kung bakit after decolorization with alcohol, yung tissue ninyo could still be having color at may mga part na natatanggalan ng color because of this principle, ligand dye. So it somehow make your tissue or making your dye, for example, this will be your tissue or your cell natin, kapag nakapasok dyan yung ating ligand dye, mas malaki yung kanilang molecular compound compared to a dye alone kasi meron siyang together with your another metal ions. So it will be somehow very difficult to remove the dye once already penetrate the tissue or the cells. So these are the different type of dye based on the chemical structure and the chromophore group. We have the azo dye, the thiazine dye, the triphenylamine azine dye, diphenylmethane, xanthine, oxazine dye, acridine dye, and your anthraquinone dye. So what are the different factors that influence yung outcomes of staining natin? So the outcomes of your staining of your tissue would depend on the different factors such as yung affinity of your dye to that of the target specimen. So like what I have mentioned earlier, sabi natin, each dye na ginagamit natin have affinity on specific structures in your cells. Like for example, yung mga acid structures in your cell will only be stained using your basic stain. While that of the acid or while that of the alkaline or the basic structures of your cells will only be stained by your acid stain. So in this regards, you have to make sure na kapag gagamit ka ng stain o yung gagamitin mong dye would specifically have affinity to that of the target tissue na gusto mo makita or i-demonstrate sa tissue. Like for example, if you want to demonstrate the presence of RNA, the presence of RNA in your tissue or in your specimens, so you rather choose yung dye na would stain the RNA. In that regards, gagamit ka ng mga basic stain. Yung mga cationic dye natin because this one will specifically stain yung mga structure na yon. Another would be may mga stain o may mga dye tayo na ginagamit that are usually specific for a particular compound or molecule that is present in your tissues, such as for example, if you want to demonstrate the presence of iron in your tissue, iron cannot be demonstrated in a tissue using an ordinary Wright stain or an ordinary H&E stain. There is a specific dye that would be used para ma-demonstrate natin yung iron, and that would be yung Prussian blue. Yung Prussian blue. So that would be yung tinatawag natin affinity of your dye with that of the target tissue. So if you will be using a dye that doesn't have any affinity with that of a target structures, or a compound or molecule in your tissue, so ang mangyayari mo, colorless pa rin yung tissue mo. No, parang nagsayang ka lang ng agent at di mo makikita yung tissue o yung specific structure na yun. So you have to take note of that one. Another would be yung specimen geometry natin. Specimen geometry would be a very important factors that would affect the outcomes of your staining. Specifically, yung thickness ng tissue natin. The more thicker yung tissue natin, the more thicker yung tissue natin, the longer that the stain or the dye would penetrate your tissue compared to a thinner tissues. So for example, you will be cutting your tissue sections na mas malaki o mas makapal compared to an ordinary yung required no thickness of the tissue. So you have to take na kailangan mong i-prolong yung staining mo, yung staining time mo compared to that of the thin tissues. So ganun din naman sa thin sections of tissues, no? Kapag mas manipis siya, kailangan shorter lang yung staining time compared to that of the thicker tissues. So again, the thickness of your tissue. Another would be the surface topography. No, yung surface topography ng tissue natin would vary based on what are the technique na ginamit mo do sa process ng tissue mo. Like for example, no, according to Bruce Gregorius, that yung mga tissue na na-process using a paraffin, yung ordinary HE, yung ordinary tissue processing natin, wherein nagdumaan ng fixation, dehydration, tearing, hanggang nagkaroon ka ng infiltration and embedding no, sa tissue natin. No, usually daw, no, meron daw silang smooth and even surface. No, yung mga tissue na dumaan sa routine histotechnic procedure natin. Usually, the outcomes would be, no, this type of or these tissues would have a smooth and even surface. With that, no, kapag daw smooth and even surface, mas madali daw ma-penetrate ng dye mo yung mga tissue o yung mga cells natin. Compared to those tissues or specimen that are processed using yung ating frozen sections. Sabi ni Bruce Gregorius, yung mga tissue daw na na-process in a frozen section method or technique, usually they do not have smooth and they usually have uneven surface. With this regard, no, kung hindi daw smooth or uneven yung mga surface nila, mas mahirap daw silang i-penetrate ng mga stain natin. That's why, no, sometimes, no, mas maputla. No, mas maputla daw yung outcomes ng staining kapag daw yung mga tissue have been processed in a frozen section compared to that a tissue that have been processed using a routine histotechnic procedure. Kaya nga in hospital, sometimes what doctor usually do, no, yung mga pathologists, even though na yung pasyente ninyo, no, na-read na yung kanyang frozen sections, no, na-read na yung frozen section niya, sometimes, no, the pathologist would going to ask the medtech to still, no, process pa rin sa routine histotechnic procedure yung tissue na yon para at least makita niyo yung difference. Baka mamaya meron siyang hindi nakita sa unang basa niya in a frozen sections, no, na pwede niyang makita doon sa routine histotechnic process tissue specimen. So, ganun lagi yung routine procedure na nangyayari sa histopath. Okay po tayo. And then of course, no, the distribution of microtopography in the tissue. When we are talking about the distribution of microtopography, we are talking about the chemical or the molecular structures within the cells. So sabi natin, remember the plasma membrane of your tissues. These are made up of phospholipids and different proteins. So they are complex. No, these are somehow responsible of preventing the stain to penetrate them easily. Usually, sabi ni Bruce Gregorius, kapag daw yung mga tissue that have been undergone in a dehydration using alcohol, yung alcohol is not just only removing water from your tissue, but also have a shattering effect with these molecular structures in the plasma membrane of your tissue. Shattering effect meaning sinisira niya, no? Magkakadikit sila, pinuputol-putol niya yung mga complex structure o molecular compound na yon sa plasma membrane, thus, no, allowing the penetration of your tissues no easier and faster compared to that of the tissue na hindi na-process o na-de-alcohol and na-dehydrate no, using alcohol. Another would be the inner geometry of your tissue. When we are talking about the inner geometry, these are pertaining about the different cavities, if ever, like mga cavities within the tissue, especially yung mga specimen that have different of very high in canaliculi. So this type of tissue, usually, no, mas madali silang ma-penetrate ng tissue specimen, mas madali silang stain compared to that of an intact tissues na wala masyadong cavities. So again, no, those are example or factors no, pertaining to specimen geometry. Another would be yung target concentration natin. It is somehow same with that of the affinity. When we are talking about the target concentration, the amount of a particular substance, the amount of a particular, the number of the organelles or structures within the cells, no, na pwedeng mag-pick up ng color ng stain mo. Like for example, no, you wanted to demonstrate no iron in your tissues, no, and then you will be using Prussian blue as your stain or your dye to demonstrate iron, eh yung tissue mo naman wala naman palang iron, no? Kahit na buhusan mo yan ng sangkatutak na Prussian blue, eh wala namang iron yung tissue mo, so wala kang makikitang iron o wala kang makikitang blue, no, deposit or tissues na doon sa stain mo. Kasi nga, no, wala naman o mababa yung concentration ng substance or particular compound na meron doon sa tissue mo. No? So you have to take note of this one. So it's somehow no, you have to be also familiar with that of the natural of the history of the tissue itself. No, yung tissue na pinaprocess mo. No, and of course no, yung request ng pathologists and that of the stain or dye na gagamitin mo. And of course no, yung ating rate of stain loss. So all in all, these are all the different factors that would affect no, the outcomes of your staining. So sometimes, no, we are not just only using acid dye or basic dye in Stopat. No, gumagamit din tayo ng metachromatic dye. Metachromatic dye, these are coming from a two Greek word. Meta means altered, chromatia means colored, no, altered color. So bakit siya tinawag na altered color? Kasi dito, no, the outcomes or the product would be, yung color no, ng tissue would be different from that of the original color ng dye na ginamit mo. Like for example, ang ginamit mong dye, no, kulay blue, pero after staining the tissue, ang magiging kulay ng tissue mo o ng cells mo would be pink, would be red or violet, purple, no? So that is yung metachromatia. Metachromatia usually, ginagamit natong mga metachromatic dye na to, if you want to study yung mast cell, no, yung mga may mucopolysaccharide, the connective tissues. So these are the different tissues specifically, ideally, nire-recommend ng mga doctors na i-stain si metachromatic dye. Kasi this somehow no, easily for them to identify yung content and concentration of this compound in that particular tissue, no, in that particular tissue. Kasi kapag mas maraming content niya, mas marami yung changes ng kulay na makikita compared to that of the tissue na onti lang din yung content. No, another reason kung bakit nire-request tong metachromatic dye is that for the pathologist to be able to identify yung age ng mga cells. No? Kasi sometimes yung mga cells that are younger, no, compared to that of mature cells would have a different color in metachromatic dye compared to that of an adult cell. No, with that, no, ba't hindi nila ma-identify, probable bang may neoplastic disorder tong tissue na binabasa ko, no, compared to that of, no, kasi nga, neoplastic would somehow, no, indicate yung rapid divisions that would somehow, no, production of much more younger cell compared to that of adult cell. So, ito yung mga technique na ginagamit nila para mas madali nilang mabasa o ma-compare yung mga tissues or cells, no, from the specimen. So, there are various type of metachromatia. Ano yung mga various type of metachromatia? We have the alpha or the orthochromatic. Here, no, yung ating dye, after staining of after putting it in your specimen, they will remain monochromic. No, kaya ang kulay niya will retain the blue. No, yung tissue niyo magiging blue pa rin. No, in alpha orthochromatic. Then next, we have the beta or dye or trimeric form. So if you will be using this type of metachromatic dye, then the dye form dimeric structures in your tissues, and here the result will be purple. No, yung tissue ninyo. Purple at tissue. Diyan. And then next we have the gamma or the polymeric form. Here the dye is in polymeric form, wherein after staining, your tissue will become red. No, your tissue will become red. So these are the different example of metachromatic dye. Yan. Yung makikita nyo dyan. So these are the principles on how the different metachromatic dye, no, affects or influence the color of the tissues. So same with that of your deep dye staining, no, these are the different factors that would somehow, no, affect the outcomes of your or influence, no, metachromatia. So in histopath, we had different type of staining technique na ginagamit natin. Meron tayong progressive and regressive staining. In progressive staining, we are just going to follow yung specific steps, procedures in staining and sequence of solution na gagamitin mo. No, like for example, no, you have to stain this tissue with this specific dye. After that, stain with another dye. After that, you have to stain with another or following this step, no? Yun yung progressive staining. In progressive staining, usually very crucial dito yung time, very crucial dito yung pH and the concentration of your dye, no, yung pagbabuffer mo sa dye. That is yung progressive staining. Hindi natin ginagamit yung progressive staining in histopath kasi ang problema diyan kapag kapag medyo nakalimot ka, no, ang itsura ng tissue mo sunog, no? Itim na yan because of the stain, no, because of the stain. The most common staining technique na ginagamit natin sa histopath would be the regressive staining. And a good example of regressive staining na meron tayo would be the HNE staining. The hematoxylin and eosin staining is the most common staining technique in histotechnique. Not just only in histopath, but even in ordinary tissues, no? If you do not want, no, kung wala ka namang specified compound or structure na gusto mong i-demonstrate, gusto mo lang aralin yung appearance, morphology, and the disease process happening in the tissue, pwede mo lang gamitin itong HNE staining. An example of regressive staining. So, in principle, ang regressive staining, ginagawa natin dyan, no? Ino-overstain talaga natin yung tissues. So, i-overstain mo yung tissue mo. So, what will happen, no, regardless kung matagalan ka dyan, talagang intentionally ino-overstain natin yung tissue. And after overstaining the tissue, you will going to add a decolorizer. No, i-decolorize mo siya. So, any part of the cell that would not have affinity on that first stain na ginamit mo will be decolorized after decolorizations. So, only those specific structure in the cell that have affinity with the first stain, yun lang yung mai-stain after decolorizations, no? After decolorizations. After that, mag-a-add ka ng mordant or bluings. Then, after that, magagamit ka ng differentiation o yung counter stain natin. So, counter stain will be the one responsible of imparting color to those structure in the cell that have been decolorized, no? Siya naman yung magkukulay doon sa mga structure na na-decolorize. So, and that would be yung ating regressive staining. So, another important compound na ginagamit natin, especially to somehow to ensure that your stain will, or your tissue will be permanently stained, would be yung mordant natin, no? Mordant, it could be a metal ion or other compound that would bind to your dye, no, making your dye molecule bigger and ensuring that the dye will not be easily removed once they are already inside the cell. It's somehow same with that of the principle of ligand or chelating dye. No, yun yung mordant natin. So the most common mordant na ginagamit natin would be the iodine, no, in routine tissue technique, in histoprocess, no, wherein, no, your iodine, no, will somehow, no, will add, no, will bind pala, not will bind to the dye that is present or inside your cell, so giving your dye or making your dye molecule bigger, no, bigger. Kung mas malaki na siya, mas mahirap na siyang tanggalin, no, once nasa loob na siya. Kasi remember that yung ating plasma membranes, the cells, no, are very small. So this one, no, will not permit them to go outside the cell once they are already, no, inside the cell as this compound form after adding your mordant. So after adding your mordant. So that is yung principle ng mordant. Okay, so there are several types of mordant na ginagawa natin in histopath. Meron tayong pre-mordanting. In pre-mordanting, what you are going to do is that no, meron kang tissue, no, i-stain mo muna yan. Ilalagay mo muna yung ating ano, no, mag-a-add ka muna ng mordant, no, so for example, tissue mo, ipa-flood mo yan siya ng mordant, then after that, no, remove the excess mordant, then add your stain. So, nauna yung mordant before the stain. No, that is your pre-mordanting. Now, we have also yung ating metamordanting. Sa metamordanting, your solutions already have, no, yung bottle mo, they already have your dye and at the same time, meron na siyang mordant. No, magka-combine na sila. Ready to use na siya, bubuhos mo na lang, hindi mo na kailangan is-add pa yung mordant o separate pa yung dye. No, automatic this solution you can use as is and already have the dye itself and the mordant. Then next, we have the post-mordanting. Yung post-mordanting mo, you have your tissue specimen. So these are your tissue specimen. First, you will going to stain it with your, you will going to apply the stain. Then after applying your stain, lalagyan mo naman siya ng mordant mo. Lalagyan mo muna siya ng mordant mo. Ay, mag-iba ng kulay. Hayaan mo na yan, mordant na yan. Yan. So you will going to add the mordant no, after. No? That is post-mordanting. Okay? A good example of post-mordanting na ginagawa natin, like for example, in your gram staining. Diba sa gram staining nyo, you first apply the primary stain, no, then apply the iodine, then no, wash it, then your no second or counter stain. So a good example of that would be yung gram stain, post-mordanting. Then we have also accentuators. So accentuator is different from that of your dye. Bakit? Kasi ang accentuator natin will just only play an important role of enhancing the color of your dye. But neither participates no in your dye by binding in your dye, neither forming a dye lake no to your dye. Kasi sa mordant natin, ang nangyayari, no, we have yung tatawag natin, these are your tissues. No, for example, these are your silent tissue natin, and this will be your no dye. No, nagkakaroon tayo ng dye leak, no? More than dye leak compound, no? In your accentuator, ang nangyayari dyan is just, no, your tissue is just only, no, being enhanced, yung color niya, or yung dye, are just only helping, the accentuator are just only helping the dye to intensify your color sa tissue natin. So, hindi siya talaga directly will bind, no, to your dye, no, to make your dye, no, permanently attached to your tissue, but it's only enhancing the colors or intensifying the colors. That will be your accent. So these are the basic steps, no, in staining natin. So these are example of H&E staining na ginagamit natin sa laboratory in Stopat. So H stand for hematoxylin, E for eosin. So hematoxylin, eosin staining natin. So the most important thing would be, kailangan mo nang i-deparafinize yung tissue mo. Remember that your tissue are subjected to the infiltrations. No, in-infiltrate natin yung mga cavities sa tissue ninyo to make your tissue firm during the tissue cutting. No, para at least no makapag-produce tayo ng thin sections. However, no, the presence of paraffin inside your tissue will also no be a problem in the staining. Bakit? Because this paraffin will be very impermeable, no? No, they are not permeable with that of the stain. So mahihirapan yung stain natin, yung dye natin, i-penetrate yung tissue natin if they are still present in your tissue. That's why prior to staining, you have to deparaffinize your tissues. So how you are going to deparaffinize your tissue, yung slide na nakat ninyo sa microtome na nasa slides ninyo, yung tissue na nakat ninyo sa microtome na nasa slides ninyo will be placed no in a change or at least no 3 changes of saline. Your saline will remove the excess or any paraffin inside your tissues, allowing or preparing your tissues or yung cells to be penetrated by your stain or your dye no during the staining. So after that no, tandaan natin no your tissues are being dehydrated. So usually yung ating mga cell membrane, they are somehow very fragile or very hard to be penetrated no by the stain because they are already dry. No? Kung wala silang tubig, so dried yan, so it will be very difficult for our stain to penetrate them, especially mga plasma membrane ng cells natin. For us to be, or for the stain to be able to penetrate easily yung ating plasma membrane ng cell, kailangan mong i-rehydrate ulit yung tissues ninyo. Rehydrating your tissues with graded alcohol will somehow no giving no yung water or somehow rehydrating the cell membrane, allowing the stain to allowing the cell to be penetrated easily no and faster by your stain. So kailangan mo siyang rehydrate. After you already rehydrated your cells, the next thing would be nuclear stain. Ano yung nuclear stain natin? Nuclear stain, the most common nuclear stain na ginagamit natin in histopath would be the hematoxylin, no? Yung hematoxylin natin. Hematoxylin will stain the nucleus, but not just only the nucleus, no? Because even not the nucleus, even other structure would be stained by the hematoxylin. But remember that, no? This hematoxylin have affinity, no, with that of the nucleus only, or the content of the nucleus. That's why, no, after differentiation, the most common decolorizer na ginagamit natin in differentiation would be the acid alcohol, no? Differentiation is removing any stain or any color from that of the cells that have been colored by the primary stain, no, preparing them to be counter stain naman with your secondary stain. No, and that made only possible by your, no, by that of your acid alcohol. So acid alcohol will remove any stain no from that of your or any dye from that of any structures do sa cell mo, no, removing them, making them or rendering them colorless as long na hindi sila o wala silang affinity with your hematoxylin. Since nagkaroon ka ng differentiation, decolorization with acid alcohol, even the nucleus of the cell are being somehow slightly decolorized. No? Hindi sila totally na decolorized, but slightly decolorized. So magiging maputla yan. Para at least maging visible pa rin sila at maging you will be able to study them under the microscope, gagamit tayo ng bluing. Bluing is an alkaline solution being used non staining to intensify the color of your hematoxylin, specifically the color of the nucleus. Now, remember that no, yung mga other structure kanina na nakulayan ng hematoxylin, they already been decolorized by acid alcohol. So upon bluing, ang ini-intensify na lang dito would be yung merong color at hindi na decolorize, which is the nucleus, no? Ito lang. And the rest will not be no intensify the color. No, kasi nga decolorize na sila kanina. Okay? So, ini-intensify natin to kasi nga partially they are being partially the nucleus are no decolorized no during differentiations. So after that, magagamit ka na ng counter stain mo. The most common counter stain na ginagamit natin in H&E staining, kaya nga siya H&E no eosin. The eosin will color any part of the cell or of your tissue na na-decolorize kanina during differentiations. And will not color the nucleus, which is already colored, no? And then after that, no, since may water to, binalik mo yung water sa kanya, i-dehydrate mo yan. It is somehow no preventing your tissues to be destroyed no during long storage. Kasi if water is still present in your tissue, automatic no pwede siyang masira if your tissue contain water. So for archiving purpose, to protect your tissue for future references and will be stored for a longer period of time, you remove the water. No, you remove the water. Then after that, no, i-clear mo yun siya, no, by placing it with saline to somehow, no, making your tissue more transparent and somehow, no, easier for your pathologist to read what is inside your tissues. And then, of course, no, mounting. So mounting is adding adhesive or mounting medium in your tissue. At the same time, no, putting cover slip in your tissue to protect your tissues from mechanical damage as you or the pathologist read the smear, no, under the microscope. Okay? So all in all, this will be the steps na gagawin natin, no, in your staining procedure once na ready na yung mga tissue specimen ninyo. Ito yung pinaka-routine na staining procedure na gagamitin natin. But there will be some modification. Kasi pag sinunod natin ito, baka mamaya, abutin tayo ng alas 12 ng gabi, dito pa tayo sa, no, sa EYAC, di tayo matapos. So we will be modifying this one that would somehow suitable for your, no, na mabilis natin matapos, that will not affect the outcomes of your tissue. Okay po? So these are example of tissues no na nakikita natin. So ito, no, ito yung pinaka-example ng good ideal state no tissues. Wherein no makikita niyo diyan, your tissues, no, this will be the nucleus, no, blue, and these are the cytoplasms of the cells no ng tissue natin. No, these are perfectly stained, not perfectly stained, ideal stained, no, na tissues natin. Okay po? So that is the one that we are expecting from you na isasabit nyo sa amin. So, yan yung dapat magawa o ma-produce ninyo. In hospital, yun yung nakikita ng mga pathologies. Then, ito yung mga common error or problem na naki-encounter natin in staining. Nakatry na nila yan. Okay, we have this one. Ito naman ang problema dito, no, hindi na stain yung nucleus. If you will notice, no, wala kayong makikitang blue. May mga blue onti lang, but entirely, no, yung mga tissue nyo are pink, no, more of cytoplasm. So remember that nucleus is what that mostly no important sa mga pathologies yan kasi one of the different pathological process happening in the tissue would be yung changes na nangyayari sa nucleus. Like for example, yung karyorrhexis, karyolysis are indication of pathologic process. So if these things are not demonstrable no, sa tissue, no, mahihirapan yung pathologist nyo. Ano bang sakit niyan? Baka sabihin nyo, okay. Then, ito naman na overblue o na overstain naman with your hematoxylin. So, tingnan nyo, mukha lahat nucleus. So, importante bang may makita tayo sa cytoplasm? Yes. Because one of the indication of abnormality na meron yung cell mo would be present in the cytoplasms. Like, for example, the presence of the different mitotic figure. No, that's an indication of neoplastic disorder na makikita mo cytoplasm pero wala sa nucleus. So, kailangan din makita o ma-demonstrate na maganda yung cytoplasm ng cell natin, hindi lang yung nucleus. So, meaning to say, dapat okay, both stain ang nucleus and cytoplasm mo or else na mahihirapan yung pathologist mo. Last semester, ito yung mga itsura ng smear na pinasa sa akin ng mga estudyante. No? Sunog lahat. Then, ito naman yung example ng tissue na merong paraffin, no? Hindi siya na-deparaffinize. So, if you have noticed itong portion na to, no, ito yung portion na maputla compared to this portion ng cell o yung tissue nyo na may kulay. So, these are somehow, no, the paraffin still present in this part of the tissues, no, preventing the stain or the dye to penetrate your cells. That's why, no, ganyan ang itsura niya. Kaya ganyan natin. Kaya ito, mahihirapan din yung pathologist basahin yan. Ano ba yan? May anemia o anemic slides no, compared to this one. So that will be all for your staining principles. Any questions so far? Any question? Natulog na kayo?
None so far po.
Na so far. Very good. So add ko lang to though I already discussed this one, add ko lang yung mga specific stain natin na ginagamit. So these are the different stains no, na ginagamit, dyes or stains na ginagamit natin in histopad. We have ayoko na yan. Dito na tayo. Okay, so we have the acridine orange. So acrid in orange, usually these are common stain na ginagamit natin to demonstrate the DNA, no, DNA of your cell. So in histopad, ginagamit yan especially for demonstration of T. vaginalis among female vaginal scraping specimen, no, vaginal scraping specimen. But again, not just only for that, but also for the demonstration of the DNA. Kasi acrid in orange have typically stain, no, the DNA. Then next we have the Alcian blue. Yung Alcian blue naman is good for the demonstration of your mucopolysaccharides, no? Mucopolysaccharides and tissue specimen, especially yung mga connective tissues natin. Then next we have this one, aniline blue kasi these are good for cytoplasmic stain, no, for epithelial sections. So yung mga epithelial tissue natin such as for example skin, no, yung biopsy of the small intestine, the different glands, no, pwede nating stain yan with aniline or counter stain with aniline. Then next we have the basic poxine. This basic poxine is good for the staining of acid pass organism. So ito yung ginagamit nating primary stain, no, for your acid pass stain. Not just only for that, can also be used for the demonstration of mitochondria, differentiation of smooth muscle using with the use of picric acid. Then next we have benzidine. Benzidine is a good stain, especially for those specimen that contain hemoglobin, no, hemoglobin. Ito yung ginagamit nating stain, especially for the demonstration of occult blood, no, sa mga stool specimen natin or other specimen that contains, no, hemoglobin, benzidine. We have the Bismarck brown. These are good for the staining of your Papa Nicolau method as. Then next we have the carmine, no. For the carmine, it is usually good for the staining of your glycogen. So next we have one already. Congo red. Congo red usually good for the stain mixture with the methylene and demonstration of amyloid and myelin. Then crystal violet is one of the most simple stain, like common simple stain na ginagamit natin. Simple stain kasi hindi mo na kailangan i-counter stain yan. Ginagamit lang natin to if you want to demonstrate the morphology, you want to understand the appearance of the cell itself, pero specifically wala kang gusto makita. Gusto mo lang makita yung morphology, ano ba itsura ng mga nucleus ng cell, ano ba itsura ng morphology ng cells, no? Normal ba siya or abnormal compared to its morphological size, especially with that of the epithelial tissue, no? You know, crystal violet. So James stain is good for the differentiations and study of the morphology of the WBC. Not just only for that one, it's also good for the demonstration of blood parasites, such as Plasmodium, the Leishmania, the Trypanosoma, and also the filarial worm. Not the filarial worm, James stain ang ginagamit natin. Then next, we have the iodine. Iodine is one of the oldest stain na ginagamit natin up until today. It is good for the demonstration of the starch granules, no? Carotene and glycogen in tissue specimen. Then next we have Janus green. Janus green is one of the most common intravital staining na ginagamit natin. Intravital staining is a staining technique wherein yung stain ini-inject doon sa tissue, no, ng pasyente o ng animals. So, in-inject mismo, no, through doon sa katawan niya, yung stain, no, kapag intravital staining. Supravital staining, yung staining technique na ginagamit natin, kapag hindi mo ipifix yung specimen, no, you want to stain the tissue while still, no, alive, no, yung mga cells natin. Supravital staining naman. And vital staining, wherein yung ginagamit natin pagpatay na yung cells. We have the malachite green. Malachite green is one of the most common counter stain na ginagamit natin for acid pass and also for bacterial spore stain, no? Malachite green. In parasitology, ginagamit natin yan to count, no, the ascaris. Okay. Then next we have the methylene blue. And see, or same for fibers. Then meron na, yeah, Prussian blue. So this one, Prussian blue is good for the demonstration of iron deposit in your tissues, no? Ito yung ginagamit natin to determine if your tissues have iron deposits. Then silver nitrite. Silver nitrite is good for the demonstration of reticulum, connective tissue, and other connective tissue or compound or connective tissue substance, no? Or yung mga matrix, external matrix na connective tissues. Not just only for that one, there's silver nitrate stain, no? Ito na yung common stain na ginagamit natin to demonstrate spirochete in tissue specimen. So if your doctor or the doctor wanted to demonstrate the presence of spirochete in tissue specimen, ito yung ginagamit natin stain. No, because your spirochete cannot be stained using your drum stain. No, the most common staining technique na ginagamit natin would be the silver nitrate staining. Then toluidine blue, Victoria blue. We have also yung mga oil-soluble dyes. Yung mga oil-soluble dyes, especially, these are common na ginagamit to demonstrate the lipid contents, no, of your tissue. Especially kapag gusto mong makita o gusto mong aralin, no, yung maturation status ng mga WBC, especially in the diagnosis of leukemia. We have the Sudan Black. So Sudan Black is one of the most common oil-soluble dye na ginagamit natin to demonstrate the phospholipids and cholesterol, no, in that of your tissues. So Sudan B, Sudan 3, and these are the different solvent na ginagamit natin for stain. Okay? So that will be all for stains, staining solutions, and principles and procedures of your stain. Any question or clarification po? If we do not have, I will now give the floor or the chance para kay Ma'am Aline to discuss naman po yung mounting issue. Thank you for listening, guys.
Ayan. Good afternoon, people. So, I hope nakinig kayo ng bonggang-bongga kay Sir Art, no? So, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyong part ng histopath. Nung time ko, no, hindi ko inaral yan, yung staining, kasi napakadami. Okay, based dun sa presentation ni Sir Art na talagang marami talaga siya. Pero, ayun nga, class, you need to understand na yung mga staining na yun ay may mga kanya-kanya silang importance in histopath to help or to aid yung ating pathologist in reading those smears or slide ng patients natin. Now, so tapos na tayo, di ba? Tapos na tayo sa mga tissue processing, tapos na tayo sa staining, and also ito na yung pinaka-last part ng gagawin natin sa histopath section. Tapos wala na, ano nang gagawin nyo sa histopath section, mag-aantay na lang kayo ng pasyenteng mamamatay talaga, no? Antayin na lang kayo ng pasyenteng mamamatay ulit, o kaya magkakasakit, or magdadala ng organ dyan sa laboratory, no? So, chill-chill ka lang, tapos kapag wala, di ano lang, gitara lang kayo dun sa histopath, kain-kain lang kayo, ganyan, chikahan kayo ng buhay ng mga kaklase nyo, dun na bibuild yung bond, yung camaraderie, yung mga interns kapag nasa histopath section kayo, kasi madalang lang naman yung samples dyan. But regardless, kahit madalang lang yung sample natin dyan sa histopath, importante pa rin yung tamang paggawa, okay? Pag-process natin ng tissue sample. Kasi nga, class, isa lang yan. Okay? Kung kunyari, ikaw na itapon mo yung atay na ni-receive mo sa histopath section, saan ka pa kukuha ng atay ulit? Alangan naman yung atay mo yung ibigay mo. Okay, iisa lang yung sample doon. So, please, hindi kayo pwedeng magkamali sa histopath section as much as possible. So, dalawang section lang yan, ng laboratory na hindi kayo pa pwedeng magkamali. Ano yon? Histopath at saka blood bank. Okay? Yung sa ibang section, pwede pang maihabol yan. Okay? Kapag nagkamali ka. Pwede pa yung maihabol, pwede pang masolusyonan. Pero pagdating sa histopath at blood bank, touch move na yan. Okay? Dead balls ka agad yung pasyente mo kapag nagkamali ka dyan. So, though easy lang naman yung process and procedure natin in histopath, please be observant doon sa inyong time frame. So, as mentioned kanina ni Sir Art, meron tayong mga sinusunod na time, okay, per step doon sa ating staining procedure. So, importante yan kasi kapag na-under or na-overtime tayo doon sa mga steps na yon, it will alter the stain doon sa ating slides. As you have seen doon kanina sa mga samples na slides ni Sir sa previous students niya. Now, so okay na tayo. Doon na tayo sa part kung saan, ayan, ito na. Kita naman yung slide ko. Hindi na ako mag-share screen share ng video ko. Maganda naman ako sa personal. Char! Anyway, so open mic na lang tayo if there are some questions or other concerns while I'm discussing. No, so ito, papanood ko muna sa inyo. I don't know if I can share the volume, no, yung mismong tawag dito, audio. Pero kung di marinig yung audio, okay lang naman. Isi-send ko na lang ulit ito sa Brightspace ninyo. Sa YouTube lang naman to, class. No, so dito, you can see or mas ma-appreciate nyo yung procedure na gagawin natin sa histopath pagka nagla-laboratory na tayo. So, 11 minutes lang to. I-pass forward na natin. Okay? So, ayan si ate girl. Keme-keme siya ng staining procedure. Doon tayo sa, dito, na part. O, ayan. So, ito na yung part na natapos na yung tissue processing and stuff. Ayan, i-embed na natin siya. Kunin mo na yung sample mo dyan. Lalagay mo na yan dun sa cassette. Okay, lalagyan mo na yan ng wax and all. So, forward pa natin kasi tapos na tayo dyan sa part na yun. Doon tayo sa, ayan, yung nagka-cut na tayo. Ayan, so ito na yung nagka-cut tayo. So, ito yung part na, ba yan? Ito ba, ito na, nakat mo na yung ribbon na merong tissue dyan. So, nandyan na sa water bath. So, bakit ba nilalagay dyan sa water bath? Para nga mag-flatten out yung ribbon natin. And then, mas madali siyang dumikit dun sa slide kasi lumulutang-lutang siya dyan. Okay, so, isa to sa mga adhesives na i-mention natin mamaya. Para dumikit, kaya ang adhesive eh. Okay, so para dumikit itong ribbon na to doon sa ating slide. No? So, paano gagawin ni ate girl yan? So, yan, lutang-lutang yung tissue dyan. Ayan, tapos, ilulubog mo din yung slide. Ayan, para makuha mo yung sample mo doon. Then, anong susunod na gagawin? You let it dry, no? Para dumikit ng maayos yung ribbon mo dyan sa slide mo. So, ganyan din yung gagawin ninyo. Okay, kapag nasa school na tayo. So, antay mo lang yan. Chika-chika ka lang dyan. Ang dami mo na nakwento na talambuhay sa kaklase mo. Di pa rin kayo tapos. Okay? Kasi medyo mabagal yung ating process dyan. Pero okay lang yan. Okay? So, patutuyuin mo yan dyan hanggang sa dumikit yung yung tissue mo doon sa slide. Ngayon, ano yung klase ng slide na ginagamit ni ate girl dito? Yan yung frosted, no? Yung frosted na na slide. Okay? Bakit frosted kadalasan yung ginagamit nating slide sa histopath? Kasi mas maganda siyang sulatan, no? Yung other end ng slide niya, pwede mong sulatan using pencil. Okay? Pencil ha, pencil, hindi ball pen. Pencil. Okay, so ayan, okay na. Lalagay mo na siya dun sa rack. Ready na yan for nang susunod ni ate girl. Ito sa frozen section naman. Skip na natin. Ito ibang procedure niyan eh. Ayan. Tayo sa, ayan. So, nakuha mo na yung slide mo, di ba? Ay na to. Ano na susunod? Ayan na yung procedure doon sa ating staining. So, may kanya-kanyang steps yan as mentioned a while ago ni Sir Art. May steps yan kung paano yung pagkakasunod-sunod, ano yung mga reagents per container. Yan. And may washing din. So, dapat properly timed and then kindly check yung mga reagents na gagamitin ninyo in your staining procedure. Kasi minsan, kapag madumi na yung stain, or parang watered down na yung stain, hindi na siya didikit dun sa tissue ninyo. Okay? So, magkakaroon kayo ng problema sa kulay. No? So, ganyan. May timer yan and may nakalista naman dyan. So, yun. Kami, nung student kami, ina-agitate namin yan every now and then para mas madaling kumapit yung kulay. Pero pwede namang stay lang yan as it is. Pero kami, ina-agitate namin siya ng konti. Hindi man yung sobra, no? Kasi baka matanggal naman yung tissue doon sa sa slide. Yung saktong agitation lang. So, ayan, every step, magwawash tayo ng water, no? So, hindi mo siya wawash na parang labahan, ganyan. Hindi. Yung padadaluyan mo lang siya ng tubig para lang matanggal yung excess. Then, ayan, hanggang sa matapos yung steps. Okay, fast forward ko na. Pwede nyo naman ito panoorin ulit kapag may time na kayo. Then, check. Okay, check nyo kung okay ba yung staining ninyo bago nyo siya i-mount. Okay? So, kapag okay naman yung staining, pwede na tayong mag-mount dyan. Okay, so, check nyo muna. So, kapag okay na, satisfied na kayo dun sa staining na ginawa ninyo, lagay nyo muna siya dyan. And then, ano nang susunod? Wash mo lang siya dyan. tanggalan mo ng lagay mo sa alcohol, ganyan, para maging okay yung inyong slide. Kami, nung intern kami, di ba dito sa video na to, chinek ni ate girl yung kanyang staining using microscope. Kami, medyo kasi kami, inosente kami nung kami intern. Anong ginagawa namin? Check namin with our naked eye. Ganyan. Tinatapat-tapat namin sa ilaw. Ay, mukha naman maganda na yun. Di ba, kakita mo naman yan. Mukha naman siya maganda. Pero hindi ganun ang pag-check, ha? Ang pag-check niya na under the microscope para ma-assess mo kung okay ba yung staining, may kulang ba sa staining and all. Okay? So, ayan. Kapag okay ka na, tapos mo na lahat, kaya mag-clear ka to remove excess alcohol. Ayan. Katulad lang din ng na-mention kanina. So, ano nang susunod mong gagawin? Ayan, ito na yung medyo kailangan natin dito ng presence of mind, no? Kailangan mo kasi talagang punasan yung slide kasi basa yan. Okay? Pero wag naman tayong masyadong absent-minded kasi mamaya ang mapunasan mo yung may tissue. Kaya sa tinagal-tagal ng tissue processing mo, tapos pupunasan mo lang, natanggal din. Okay? So, useless lang yung pinagpaguran mo. So, kindly check kung nasan dyan yung may part ng slide na merong tissue, saan yung part ng slide na walang tissue. Okay? So, syempre, pupunasan mo yung part na walang tissue. Okay? Tatanggalin mo kasi yung excess water dyan, excess liquid, para hindi siya mag-hinder doon sa ating next procedure. So, tatanggalin mo lang naman. Punasan mo siya. Pero huwag mo punasan yung tissue, utang na loob. Okay? And then, ayan. Ayan, sa gilid-gilid lang. Ganyan. Then, anong susunod na gagawin? Ito, as you can see, baliktad yung paglagay ni ate girl dito ng mounting medium niya, no? Nilagay niya yung mounting medium doon sa cover slip muna and then sa kanya nilagay itong slide. Okay, pa pwede naman yan para saktong square kaagad yung ma-mount mo dyan, okay, na shape ng mounting medium mo. Pero pwede rin naman yung the other way around na ilalagay mo muna yung mounting medium doon sa mismong tissue mo sa slide bago mo lalagyan ng cover slip. However, the problem is kapag nilagay mo kasi yung mounting medium doon sa mismong tissue, tapos lalagyan mo ng cover slip, minsan nagkakaroon kasi ng bubbles. Okay, so paano mangyayari kapag may bubbles? Syempre hindi kita or parang maiiba yung tingin natin under the microscope kasi may bubbles may air, okay, in between ng cover slip tsaka nung mounting medium tsaka nung tissue. So parang maiiba yung refractory index ng ng objective ng microscope natin. So, either way, it can work. However, diskarte mo na yan, okay, as medtech. So, dalawa naman ng pwedeng technique. Either lagay mo yung mounting medium mo dun sa cover slip muna, then ibaliktad mo or itapal mo dyan yung slide. Or the other way around, ilalagay mo muna yung mounting medium dun sa tissue, then tsaka mo lalagyan ng cover slip. So, ano bang purpose nitong mounting medium na to? Para mas clear, okay, para mas clear mong makita yung tissue mo doon sa microscope. No? So, na-mount mo siya. Tsaka para tumagal din, no, yung structure ng mga cells at tissues dyan na prepare mo and all. Hindi siya kaagad-agad masisira. So, ayan, didikit mo lang siya dyan. Ipipress mo lang ng very light. Okay, wag naman yung gigil mag-press kasi mababasag yung cover slip natin dyan. Yan. Adjust mo lang hanggang sa mag-spread out yung mounting medium. So, adjust ka lang dyan. Okay, next. Ano nang susunod nun? Diba, na-spread out mo na yan. So, technically, itong sides na to ng cover slip natin, class, open siya. Okay, so po pwedeng magasgas yan, matanggal, mag-crack, kasi matagal nating i-store yan sa histopath section. Ngayon, yung last step natin dyan is yung tinatawag nating ringing. Kaya anong ginagawa dun sa ringing, class? Yung ginagawa dun sa ringing, nilalagyan to ng kumbaga cover, okay, or ng reagent, ng chemical. Minsan sa laboratory, Q-Tix. Yung clear na Q-Tix, hindi yung red ha, grabe naman kayo. Hindi naman yung mga rainbow color na may glitters na Q-Tix. Hindi ganon. Yung clear na Q-Tix, yan, nilalagay yan dyan sa gilid ng cover slip natin para lang mas secure, no, yung ating cover slip mismo. Hindi siya magagalaw, hindi siya madaling masira, and then mas permanent yung attachment ng cover slip doon sa mismong tissue natin for security purposes. Pero minsan hindi na kasi ginagawa yan. Depende yan sa sa laboratory. Kami naglalagay kami ng ganyan. May iba na hindi na. Okay? So ngayon, anong i-discuss natin? So now you already know, no? Kung ano na yung mga last parts ng histopath technique na gagawin natin. O, di ba? Ano lang, madali lang naman siya, class. Yun nga lang, napakadami mo kasing options ng reagents and chemicals na pwedeng gamitin in each procedure. However, regardless kung ano mang mga available reagents dyan, available na chemicals dyan, the most important thing is yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng steps. Okay? Hindi mo po pwedeng i-bypass. Okay? Hindi po pwedeng mauna, kunyari si step 8 bago si step 5, ganyan. Okay? So, kailangan sunod-sunod siya kasi doon nakarely yung, magiging optimal, tawag dito, output, okay, ng ginawa mong smear. And then, malilito kasi yung pathologist kapag iba-iba yung kulay nakikita niya, may shrink yung cells and all. Alam ng pathologist yun kapag nagkamali ka sa sa isa sa mga steps ng tissue processing natin. So, 'di ba, madali lang siya. Ang gagawin mo lang talaga is to follow the procedure as it is. Okay? Follow the designated time per step as it is. Okay? Wala ka lang ibang gagawin. Susundin mo lang yung procedure. Okay? So, ganun din sana tayo as students, no? Kapag meron tayong mga assessments sa school, merong mga rules and regulations sa classroom, announcement and stuff, and the likes. All you have to do is understand the instruction and then follow it as it is. Okay? Yun lang naman ang hinihingi as medical technologies kasi puro tayo standard protocol and standard procedures na kailangan sundin sa laboratory kasi ano na yun yun na yun, okay? Proven and tested na yun na yung gagawin mo. So, ayun, yun lang naman. Kasi, wala, gusto ko lang sabihin. Anyway, so moving forward, okay, so dito na tayo sa adhesives. Ito na yung last topic natin for finals, na yung adhesives and mounting media. So, as you can see, dun sa video natin kanina, na-present na natin kung saan part yung adhesives na play ng role and then dun sa mounting media natin. No? So, let us discuss it further. Okay, so paano ba ano bang purpose nitong adhesives natin? So, as mentioned a while ago, it is used to promote adhesives nga okay? Adhesion of tissue to the slide. Okay? So, usually, ang ginagamit nating dito, adhesive is yung water. Katulad dun sa video natin, yung water bath. Okay? So, malamang yung water bath may water. Kaya nga siya tinawag na water bath. No? Magtaka ka kapag iba'y nakalagay dun sa water bath. Kasi nga, water bath yun. So, dapat water bath. Anyway, dami ko na naman sinasabi. Okay, so to promote adhesion of tissue, kasi kapag diniretso natin class, yung tissue, yung ribbon natin, yung ribbon cuttings natin sa slide, okay? Minsan kasi ring, 'di ba? Nakita nyo naman sa video, 'di ba, nung nag-microtome, medyo lukot-lukot pa yung ribbon. Okay? So kapag dinikit natin yung direkta doon sa slide, lukot-lukot din siya. So, hindi siya ma-flatten out. So, kailangan medyo flat muna yung ribbon natin bago natin siya idikit doon sa ating slide. So, in order for us to do that, okay, kailangan ipalutangin muna natin, floated out nga. Palutangin muna natin yung tissue, okay, or yung ribbon natin sa tubig. Okay, so may designated temperature yan para hindi naman siya matuna or di naman maluto yung tissue natin doon. What else? So, please take note that adhesive or adhesion procedure is not necessarily part of routine tissue processing. So, hindi naman talaga siya part na part. So, pwedeng meron kang adhesion dyan or adhesive step dyan, pwedeng wala. So, depende na kung gaano kakagaling na histotechnician in that sense. But usually, we use this step para lang mag-flatten out yung tissue ng maayos bago natin siya ilagay sa slide. Okay? So what is essential method that require exposure of sections or to acids and alkali during staining. So what is? May be prone to contamination. Bakit siya prone to contamination? Kasi nga yung common adhesive na ginagamit natin sa lab ay water. Okay, so make sure na yung water dun sa water bath ay every now and then or every day, kung meron mang process or meron mang gawa on that specific duty, eh bago yung tubig. Okay? Kasi prone yan for what? Bacterial growth. Okay? Kasi nga, di ba water bath? Okay? So medyo mainit. Eh, ang bacteria natin ay ubiquitous. Ibig sabihin, everywhere, can be found everywhere. So, pwedeng mabahayan din siya ng microorganism that will attach doon sa tissue na ginagawa natin. Well, mapagkakamalan pang may bacterial infection or whatsoever. Magkakaroon ng misreading yung pathologist natin. So, dapat laging pinapalitan yan. Okay? Okay, so ano ba yung examples ng adhesives natin? Ayan, pwedeng egg albumin, yan, Mayer's egg albumin. Commonly used, easy to make. Ayan, ito yung mga tawag dito, formulation, okay, ng egg albumin natin. Pwedeng dried albumin. Pinagkaiba niyan, yung isa wet, yung isa dry. Yun lang naman yun. Gelatin, gelatin formaldehyde mixture, ayan, starch paste, ayan, plasma. Ito pwede rin to basta yung mga luma na, no, na blood sa laboratory, especially sa blood bank. So, hindi siya may use pa rin naman yung mga expired blood bags natin, no? Sa blood bank. So, pwede pa yan ma-donate sa histopath section. As what? Yan, adhesives natin. So, readily available yan. Pwede rin naman natin yang gamitin. Okay? Pero hindi lagi, no? Kasi, ano yan eh, tawag dito, human sample pa rin naman siya. Okay? Regardless kung siya ay outdated na or what. So, hindi siya lagi. Pero po pwede. Okay, so poly-L-cysteine, widely used as adhesive in immunohistochemistry. APES, no? So, ano yung meaning ng APES? Yan yung 3-amino-propyl trietoxysilane. O, yan, so APES. So, ginagamit yan for cytospin preparation. So, paano yung cytospin preparation na tinatawag? So, para siyang, yung centrifuge na maliit, no? Maliit siya. Tapos, merong maliliit na test tube. Yung thumb size lang siya na test tube, maliliit lang siya. Tapos, sa dulo nun, merong mga slides, no? So, i-spin mo yon para yung sediment pupunta doon sa mismong slide. Kumbaga yung slide nandun sa bottom ng ng maliliit na test tube na yon, no? Tapos yun, smear mo na siya. So, common na ginagamit yan sa mga cytospin prep. And then, what else? Okay ka na, may mga adhesive ka na, yan. Mounting medium, okay? Sa mounting medium nga natin, ang common na ginagamit dito is yung Canada Balsam, no? Para dumikit yung cover slip, no? Doon sa tissue natin. So, dapat tapos na yung staining dyan and all. Para lang ma-secure, no? Prevent movement ng cover slip in the long run, no? Kasi yung mga slides natin, class, hindi katulad ng mga slides na ginagamit natin sa HEMA tsaka sa CM. Okay? Wherein, pag natapos na yung procedure, tatapon na natin, no? Hindi na natin siya i-store. Pag sa histopath kasi ni-store pa natin yung mga slides natin dyan for years, no? Para merong kopya. Okay? May kopya yung lab, kunyari mag-order ng re-reading ng slides. Okay? Meron pang copy kasi isa nga lang yung organ, class. Okay? Hindi mo pwedeng mawala yung organ, hindi mo rin pwedeng mawala yung tissue block mo tsaka yung slide mo kasi iisa lang yan. Pag natanggal na yan sa katawan ng pasyente mo, wala nang take 2. Okay? Hindi naman nagkakaroon na, pag natanggal na kunyari yung atay ng pasyente, hindi mo naman na yan, hindi na yun yung same na atay na tutubo or tag dito na makukuha mo ulit sa kanya. Nagre-regenerate naman yung atay, makakakuha ka naman ulit ng atay na sample sa kanya, pero hindi na yun yung una, hindi na yun yung original, ibang tissue na siya. So, kailangan ng mga backup copies, kumbaga. Okay? Mga backup copies natin dyan. So, to preserve that, ayan, yung slides, lalagyan natin siya ng mounting medium, yung tissue block, itatago yan maigi, okay, for a specific time period. So, anong good mounting medium natin? Should be miscible to xylene and toluene and should not crack or produce artifactual granularity. Okay? So, dapat hindi yan basta-basta magka-crack kasi pag nag-crack yan, mag-iiba na yung tingin mo under the microscope. So, hindi na siya clear, hindi na siya flat. Yung refractory index niya ay hindi na rin okay, no? So, dapat hindi rin niya na-fade out yung tissue sections and then yung stain doon. Okay? So, ayan yung mga characteristic ng ating good mounting medium. So, there are two types, pwedeng aqueous or resinous. Ang kalimitang ginagamit natin, itong resinous media, yung Canada balsam nga. Okay, so aqueous, syempre merong tubig. Kaya siya tinawag na aqueous. However, yung water kasi natin class dito ay temporary mounting medium lang yan. Bakit siya temporary? Okay, bakit siya temporary? Kasi nag-evaporate din ng tubig, di ba? Okay, nag-evaporate din yan, mauubos. Hindi mo mauubos, mawawala din siya in the long run. Pero pwede siyang gamitin as temporary, lang naman, mounting medium. Pero hindi natin yan madalas or hindi yan recommended. Okay? So, pwede rin naman glycerin. It can also act as a preservative and can keep your smears or your sections for years. Okay? So, kailangan mo lang i-close or i-seal yung edges niya with the use of your paraffin wax. No? So, other form ng glycerin natin, we have yung glycerin jelly. Ayan. And parent medium. So, these are the following formulation ng parent medium natin. Then, arsenic trioxide that may be used for the substitution of sodium mertiolate. So, alam naman natin yung mertiolate, diba? Sa mga nagpapa-nail salon dyan, yung mga sinaunang nail salon dati, sinauna na dati pa, kaya yung sinaunang nail salon, diba may nilalagay na parang orange na something dun sa kuko, yun yung mertiolate. Okay, so ngayon hindi na yan ginagawa. Okay. What else? Apathy medium. Ayan, may water and thymol crystals and the likes. Bronze. Ano naman yung sa bronze? Ito yung recommended aqueous medium natin for frozen sections, no? Frozen section. Hindi ko na pinakita sa inyo yung video kanina ng frozen section. So, di ba, yung fresh tissue sample, kapag frozen section kasi class, fresh tissue sample yan, tapos rekta na i-freeze doon sa cryostat natin. Tapos, iaano mo na kaagad siya. Ima-microtome mo na siya. So, hindi siya mag-undergo ng routine tissue processing natin. So, from tissue, freeze, cut agad ng microtome. Tapos yun, hindi mo na siya ilalagay sa water bath para mag-adhere doon sa slide mo. Okay? Pagka na-cut siyang ganon, rekta na siya kaagad sa slide. No? Bakit siya rekta kaagad dun sa slide? Hindi mo na siya ilalagay sa tubig kasi masisira yon. Okay? So, sige, balikan natin yung part na yan para ma-appreciate nyo. Diba? Natin, loading. Dito na yun na part. Okay. Saglit hanapin ko. Ayan, dito pala. Ayan. Ayan yung sinasabi ko sa inyo sa ito. Ayan, yung sa frozen section. Ayan. So, ilalagay, ayan, nakat na niya na ate girl. Ididikit na niya kaagad. Matik na yan, didikit na kaagad doon sa, doon sa kanyang slide, no? Didikit na yan. Tapos, patutuyuin mo lang yan, air dry mo lang yan. Then, ready na yan for staining. So, ganun siya kabilis, no? Ganun siya kabilis. Back natin ng konti pa. Ayan, ito yung sa cryostat. Ayan, rapid. Okay, so para siyang microtome na nasa loob ng freezer. Okay, so naandyan yan. Andyan na yung tissue sample, papatigasin. Ayan, tas ikakat. Okay, so yan na yon. So kapag nakat na yan, diretso na siyang ididikit doon sa smear or sa slide pala. Yan. Tapos patutuyuin mo na siya. And then, ready na yan for staining. No? So, hindi na naglagay nung ribbon doon sa water bath para dumikit yung tissue doon sa slide. Okay, rekta na siya. Okay, rekta na siya. Kasi nga, pag nilagay mo pa yan sa tubig, sira na yung tissue sample mo. So, ngayon, lagay mo na, di ba? Na-stainan mo na. Ngayon, lalagyan mo na siya ng, pwede siyang lagyan nitong bronze fluid para dun sa kanyang mounting medium para mas madaling dumikit yung cover slip doon sa tissue at mas maganda or mas malinaw mo siyang mabasa under the microscope. Okay, so another thing is yung resonance. Okay, so dalawa yung type na mounting medium natin, yung water-based tsaka itong resonance-based na mounting medium. So recommended for majority of staining methods and itong synthetic resins, ayan, used for embedded decalcified bones and the likes. Ngayon, yung pinakamadalas na ginagamit dito, itong ang Canada Balsam, no? Yan yung Canada Balsam. So ngayon, ang technique class in application ng Canada Balsam, pwedeng i-drop mo muna yan sa cover slip, tapos tsaka mo ilagay yung slide, okay, doon sa taas ng cover slip na yun. Or the other way around, i-drop mo yung Canada Balsam doon sa tissue mo, sa slide, then tsaka ka maglagay ng cover slip. Either way, okay lang naman. Okay, ang importante kasi dyan, class, wala siyang masyadong air bubbles, no? Kailangan wala. Kasi pag may bubbles, mahirapan kang magbasa or mahirapan yung pathologist mo magbasa ng smear. Okay? So, pwede rin itong DPX, recommended for small tissue sections, and SAM. Okay, walang meaning yung SAM lang siya. Okay, synthetic resin, mixture with xylene, then clarite, and other examples of resonance mounting medium. Ayan, pwedeng Permount, Harleco, Clearmount, etc. etc. And last, ito na yung na-mention natin kanina, yung last step natin doon sa slide para maalagaan natin yung slide natin na yon ng tissue. Lalagyan natin siya ng ringing media. Yan, pwede Durofix or Chronig, pero kapag medyo mahirap-hirap ang laboratory natin, pwede na yung clear na Q-Tix, no? Yun yung ginagamit sa lab. Yung didikit mo siya doon sa gilid ng iyong cover slip para hindi siya masira kaagad. Okay? So, for protection purposes lang naman. So, pwedeng gawin yan, pwedeng hindi, depende na yan sa protocol nyo sa laboratory. So, yan. Pag sa Pilipinas, nail polish, no? Yung Q-Tix na colorless. Yun lang yung ginagamit. So, ayan. Okay na tayo. Tapos na tayo sa ating buong histopath or histotechnique, no, in the laboratory. So, yung mga susunod nating activities, ayan, ipaperform na natin lahat ng pinagdi-discuss natin simula prelim up to finals, no? So, ngayon, do we have any questions, clarifications, and other matters? Questions, clarifications, and other matters. Okay, so since we still have time, no, magpapa-activity kami ni Sir Art, no, that will be posted sa inyong Brightspace account. So, dalawang activity yon, yung una sa staining lesson natin, and then yung pangalawa doon sa preparation na ng tissue natin, yung gagawa kayo ng paper boat, no? Sige, sir. Ayan, nandiyan na pala si sir. Sige, go, sir.
Yung staging activity already posted na. Magpo-post na siya sa Brightspace ninyo ngayon. Ang due niya is 11:30 p.m. So, pero ang deadline niya is on next week. Any student that will be submitting the activity on or before 11:30, automatic walang deductions. So, those students that will submit your activity nila beyond 11:30 up until May 4 next week, automatic may deductions na. Yun yung activity about staining. May activity din si ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yung sa akin naman, madali lang naman yon. Manood lang kayo paano gumawa ng paper boat. And then, practicein nyo siya dyan sa bahay ninyo. okay, kung paano yung procedure and all. And then yan yung ipapapractical ko sa inyo next week. Okay, individual ito ha. So magtutupi-tupi ka lang dyan, parang origami lang yan, class Susme. Baka hindi nyo pa makuha yan. Okay, tupi-tupi ka lang ng ano dyan, paper boat. Kasi po pwede rin natin siyang gamitin, okay, na pang mold ninyo ng tissue ninyo dun sa mga activities na gagawin natin this finals. No? Kasi baka makulangan tayo nung cassette and all. At least meron tayong backup na paper boat. Okay? So, yun. Popost ko na lang yung procedures dyan sa Brightspace ninyo later. Yun lang sa akin, sir.
Yun na, ma'am. Okay na po. Any question or clarification for the class? Yes, Miss Lauzon.
Sorry sir, clarify lang po. Yung ipapasa lang po today is yung sa staining lang po.
Staining, yes, opo, staining.
Tapos practicals po yung kay Ma'am Aline.
Ma'am, yes po.
Thank you po.
Sige. So, bali, papanoorin nyo lang yan sa YouTube kung paano gumawa. And then, practicein nyo dyan sa bahay ninyo. Tapos, next week, practicals, ganyan. 0-100. Susme, para origami lang yan, ha? Pag kamali ka dyan. Kaloka kayo. Okay, 0-100 lang ang score natin. Okay? Sige, questions? Clear? Are we clear? Oh, yes, Miss.
Daming tanong.
Ba yan? Ito na. Saan si Mariel?
Nahiya na siya. Ayan.
Ayan, sir. Hindi na nagtanong, sir.
Ayan na, Mariel, go. The floor is yours. Okay. Saan na,
Ayun na
nawala na.
Nawala.
Ayan. Yung paper po ba,
Tinay niya.
ayan na, ito na nagtanong na, sir. Yung paper po ba ay bond paper lang? Hindi, actually, ano to, index finger tuloy. Index paper, hindi index finger. Nakakaloka na yung index finger. Paper. Okay, kailangan medyo makapal. Pwede naman siguro yung mga cartolina and all, pero mas eco-friendly. Di ba eco-friendly? Parang economically friendly. Mas mura kasi index paper or index card. Index paper tuloy. Index card pala. Ayan.
Ay, wag ka na, Miss Mendoza. Wag ka na magtanong. Close na. Tapos na.
Tapos na, dismiss na tayo. Paano yan?
Hello po, confirm ko lang po, kapag hindi po kami nagpasa within today, wala pong deduction. Ay, pag nagpasa po kami within today, wala pong deduction.
Yung sa staining, until 11:30.
Pwede po ba sa May 4 na lang din? Tapos walang deduction.
Depende.
Thank you po.
Okay.
Kaya nyo yan, class. Ano, kape-kape muna kayo dyan, tapos sulat-sulat kayo. Ganun. Feeling journal lang. Ganun. Yan. Okay? Okay na tayo? Wala na magtatanong. Wala na, ha?
Wala na.
Tinakot eh. Okay. So, kung wala nang tanong, ayan. Thank you, class, for attending. Sir, may sasabihin pa po kayo.
Wala na, ma'am. Thank you, guys. See you next week for our activity.